Hi, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela with another video on making Native American flutes. This is a continuation of a series of making a small, traditional Cherokee Indian flute out of bamboo. Of course, bamboo, once again, not originally from this country, but very closely related to the plants that were. What we're going to do today is just go ahead and try to get a little ways down the road. We have, I guess, one more segment after this one that you'll be looking for in the playlist. But let's go ahead and get our holes drilled and get the sound area started, and then of course the last video is our focus on the track area, which is the part you really want to pay attention to. So come take a look at what we got going on today. Okay, so just kind of move some of this stuff around a little bit here. I did leave the bamboo out for us, of course. I guess I could put these on my head like I always do. Anyways, so what we're going to do next, like I say, is go ahead and drill these holes. After we get the holes drilled, I'm going to want to clean it up a little bit, and you'll see how we do that. But as promised, this video is going to be made with a pocket knife and a hacksaw. A hacksaw part we've used, we're going to be using again shortly. But I'm going to show you where we're going with these holes. So to drill a hole with a pocket knife, which is very similar to the way people used to drill their holes back in the old days, no matter what country, lots of people had neat stone and other tools. And you notice how I'm not focusing on one area? You have to go all the way around with that blade, see? We're going to leave that as it is right now. That way I can show them to you a little bit better in just a moment. And like I told you before, made my first flutes with pocket knives, so this is not new to me, although I haven't done it in a while. Well, not since that park video, I guess. If you have to, you can draw some lines on the flute with a ruler so that you can tell where the straight line is there. It's completely up to you. I guess at this point, I kind of see straight lines and round circles and flute pieces all over the place in my mind, so. And the next one, make sure I get it pretty close to the center. And these holes are not going all the way through just yet, mostly because I want to show you what they look like and what their progress is and how all that works. We'll probably speed up the part where I'm actually finishing drilling them out with my pocket knife so that you don't have to sit here and watch this forever and ever. Okay, so there's those. I'm going to go ahead and start this hole up here, even though it's probably not that crucial that we do it right now. I know I've used a pencil, and you'll forgive me, I know the video says it's going to be with a hacksaw and a pocket knife, but I'm going to use some steel wool. Really, you could use anything to do this. There's a way to use, as some of my friends do, people that are in the craft type business, there's a way to use a piece of old broken drink bottle to buff something so that it's nice and shiny. That's got to sound really strange to you. One day I might make a video doing that just so you can get the idea. For that old ratty piece of bamboo that you guys were thinking, wow, why didn't you get something nicer looking? This is looking pretty cool. It's even shiny. So gotta make sure you get all of this old dirt and dust and whatever might be on it, algae. Gosh, man, there was all kinds of stuff on this flute, weren't there? Okay, so enough of that. Nice and smooth. Looks kind of antique at this point too, doesn't it? It's pretty wild. So what I'm going to do, like I say, you'll probably see this in fast forward, but I'm just going to drill out some holes. So there we have drilled some holes. Not very pretty, mind you, but they're going to be just fine. I'm going to show you on this piece of scrap bamboo here what happens when you try to drill a hole and you put too much pressure. I didn't want to do it on this thing because, of course, this is our flute we're making, and I don't want you to do it on yours, so please make sure you pay specific attention to what I'm going to show you next. This is a flat blade that we're using here to drill a round hole. You know, logic tells you there's going to be a problem somewhere. So watch what I'm doing. Just making a hole here, and I'm using varying pressures. I'm actually feeling the pressures of my knife going into the bamboo so that I don't do this. Watch. Push a little too hard. You hear that crack noise? And there it is right there. A little bit of crack noise, and you create a split. Can you see that little split right there? I think you can. It's right over here. I'll open it up just a little more. See that? Now that looks like I'm using a lot of pressure to do that. I am. This particular piece of bamboo may need to, you know, it might be a little stronger than others and may need a little more pressure than yours may, but you may be using something that's really lightweight. If you crack your flute while you're making it, go ahead and drop you some super glue while it's pried open in both ends, and then let go of it and sand it over with some sandpaper. Wipe it off with a piece of, you know, paper towel, newspaper, something like that. Don't get it on your fingers. They will stick together, as most of you know. But when you're doing this, even though it took a little more pressure on this one, you're going to find that there are varying amounts of pressure that once you get a certain depth inside of the flute, it may be more problematic than others. So be very gentle with this. It seems like it's a difficult thing to do, but it's really not. So, as promised, pocket knife and a hacksaw. I'm going to show you something kind of cool here. Let's see. That we're going to do. I did this on another video. If you are coming at us for the first time, you might want to check back and look at our video in the park where I'm making a flute with just a pocket knife. I did the same thing on that one. I'm using just a pocket knife and I have the same material in hand. It's okay if I make some tools out of it. So how about that? This is a rounder, or a oh gosh, it's like an auger, I guess, or like a reamer, or a lot of different words you can use to describe it. Made a nice round hole though, didn't it? So that's what we're doing, is we're systematically going through. Probably would have helped if I cut this a little bit more smooth. Keep in mind too, the edges of this bamboo are insanely sharp, so I mean, people have made all kinds of things out of it. Prehistoric man used to make knives out of this, and arrowheads, and all kinds of stuff. Not necessarily in or just in this country. Kind of neat stuff though. So there's some nicer looking holes. How about that? Pretty reasonably round. Now of course, if you want them larger than this, my flat blade knife here will not dig into that too perfectly larger than this, because it has a tendency to want to pry it open like we did on our little scrap piece. But if you want to make them larger than this, of course a drill bit will work fine. You know, there's 100 bajillion different things you can do to drill those holes out. I like my burning tools, which is what I'll probably use once this thing is done. But that's where we're going to go next. So one thing we do want to go ahead and do in this part of the video though, because there's a link inside of here. I mean, it's solid. It's not, hear that? It's not hollow all the way through. There's a link right here, which is good because we need to use one up here. But this link we're going to go ahead and knock out. And, you know, I'm done with the rounding part of this tool. Why don't we see if this thing will do it? One other thing I would like to warn you is it has been countless times that I have tried to hammer out the inside link of a piece of bamboo and crack the whole bamboo. So there are better ways to do this. Oh, I just made it through. How about that? Okay. Knock some of those chunks out. I'll show you what this looks like here in just a second. And then I'm going to show you the way that I prefer to do it. So even though this video is making it all with a piece of bamboo, it doesn't mean that I can't show you some other options. So what I have done is I've angled this guy a little bit, and I have broken some of the side walls inside off of that link. the more you use it, the better off you are and the better practice you get at this. You see those pieces just flying out left and right. Let's see if you can see inside of it in here. I'll just hold it right there while we focus the camera. You can see my cut in there is not perfect, not the best, but it does give you an idea of what it takes to get this done. So now I'm going to grab my tool that you don't have to see where I'm grabbing it from. Gosh, I've got a stack of them. We use these things for everything. These are aluminum arrow shafts. And what I have done, this one's got like a flat end on it right here, which we hammered for whatever purpose. And the other end's got a little plastic deal on it. The little plastic end here is where the head of the arrow usually would screw into it. But likewise, you can take this guy and, I mean, it is just aluminum, you know. You can take it and just cut the end off, just like this. Let's see if I can do this without making too big of a mess. And you guys can see that I'm doing it with just a hacksaw. Nothing to it. These aluminum arrow shafts are really thin so that they can stay light. And let's see what we got here. So we can tore through there and there. There we go. Not too bad. Not perfect, but it certainly will work. And what I'm going to do at this point is using a hammer, just kind of lightly tap it through there. Use my old ratty hammer we over here use for just about everything. I'm going to hold it in my hand when I do this too, because if you push it down on something, well, you do get a great amount of force driving through there, but at the same time you may damage a lot of it up here too. So there's a lot to consider. We're just going to tap it and move it to somewhere else where I can feel that there's a piece of link that's in the way. Let's see. It's not ready for that yet. Just tap it. Feel it, tap it. You know where the link is inside of the piece, and you can even look if you have to. Focus the edge of the arrow shaft on where the link is, and bust it through. And I'm getting really close here. Dump it through. Let's see. Looking good so far. So, once again, I wanted to show you how it is that I normally do this. I like to use an arrow shaft, and it knocks a pretty good hole out, if you can see that. I don't know if we can get that focused in there. We can get some light to see inside of it. Okay, so you can see what it looks like inside there, and you know, so even though, you know, like I say, the video is making a flute with just a hacksaw and a pocket knife, I could have completed this easily with both of those tools. As a matter of fact, if I wanted to take the hacksaw blade out, I could kind of file those edges down with it. I have another dowel that I like to use normally that has a piece of sandpaper on the end of it, and I put it on a drill and run it up in there and make it just as perfectly smooth and round as you please. But once again, for those who like to say, he's not really using just a hacksaw and a pocket knife, I'm going to keep it like it is and keep it simple, and we'll go from there. Like I said, I do want to make sure that you know that there are other ways to do things, and I want to show you some of the other ways I do them, because I've always done them this way. And those of you who like to leave those comments that say, you're not using just a pocket knife and a hacksaw, I will do nothing more than put a ha 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 in the comment and let everybody else see, so keep that to yourself. Anyway, let's see here. So our next step is the last one of this part of the segment on making the flute, and I'll show you where we're going with that. Very simple. You basically want to take out a section about 1 inch above and 1 inch below the link, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very easy. We're going to score it. We're not going to cut all the way through. Cutting all the way through is a bad idea. We're going to score it with our hacksaw. dig in there. I know I should have used a used blade on this. There we go. You see how deep I went? I went about not even a 1/16, maybe a 32nd of an inch deep. And then you're going to keep this nice and straight too, as possible. Okay, so we've done that. Making a nice little line here. You don't want to cut too deep into it because you're going to be hitting the inside of the flute soon. It's a little secret. How about that? Wow. Let's see if we're going to be able to do this a little better on this side. So many other ways to do this, but I'm going to hit it old school today. Notice I'm holding it in my hand now. I'm just kind of gently rocking back and forth. It might take a little practice to get this just right, but this is the part where a lot of you are sitting at home thinking, whoa, did he really do that? Yep, nice and straight, huh? Not too shabby. Sometimes there's no school like the old school. I'm sure that person sitting at home thinking he didn't use just a hacksaw and a pocket knife, or thinking to themselves, ha, he forgot where his hole is now. Anyways, so this isn't too bad. It's pretty nice and smooth. Check it out. Scrape back and forth a little bit, once again with only a pocket knife. You can use a piece of sandpaper right here if you like, but the real important thing is to make sure that you don't dish it out on this side or dish it out on this side. It needs to be nice and flat. So, now you got a nice little square on either end. Check this out. Once again, holding this in my hand, nothing more than my hand, pocket knife in the other hand, my thumb, check it out. We got one of those neat appendages, don't we? And this is how I do this. I'm actually pushing, keeping all of my fingers and digits away from the blade, and I'm pushing with my both thumbs actually, and giving a little twist up on my way out because I don't want to dig into this track area. You don't have to do that. Hopefully lots of you are at home thinking, you know, I got a belt sander out back, I've got some sandpaper, I've got this, that, or the other, a file. Gosh, man, lots of ways to do this. Okay, that's not too bad looking there either, is it? I don't mind this line being here, by the way. That's okay. If you mind the line, you might want to sand a little bit deeper, but not too deep. So there we go. So the next part of this video that you're going to get to see is, of course, I guess what a lot of you consider to be the hardest, which is making this track and sound hole with a pocket knife. And we're also going to probably make another tool out of the bamboo to use for it, as well as making our track, or a block that's going to go on top of the track, so that we can go that route. There's so many other ways, like I say, to do this. You can make one of the types of block and tracks that don't require a flat area. There's just a plethora of different options. We probably will go through some of those in the near future, but for right now, I want you to make a really great sounding flute, and this is how I do it. So, once again, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela signing out for BlueBearFlutes.com and also Blue Bear Arts on Facebook. If you guys have any questions or comments, please be sure to post them in the bottom of this video, and always feel free to send us an email or you know, contact us on Facebook or what have you. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel. We've got lots of neat new stuff coming up, including the flute making book, which I can't stress enough. And of course, every time I stress it, thousands of you email and say, where's the book? So it's almost here, y'all. Take care, happy flute making, and don't forget, this is all about happy.